Aoife Roche, hello.
Hello.
You are Senior Director Commercial of STR, and as a specialist in hotels, I would like to have your insight on this summer season. In France in 2023, this season has been announced as better than the previous year, in spite of the growing interest rates. What's the situation in the European destinations in term for the first in terms of touristic behavior?
Yeah, so it has been a phenomenal summer. So to start at the very, very top, which I always like to because STR covers the globe, global performance, so demand recovered fully in January 2023. And from then, it has slowly started to, or the growth has continued. So the expectation is that by the end of the year, that demand will have grown 9% on 2019 levels globally. So that is, an amazing and almost unexpected result. But when you dive into Europe, Europe also is growing very well. Demand fully recovered in January, just like the trend of the globe. But the occupancies have really started to see some light. So occupancies have always been the slowest to recover. So everybody knows how rates have grown because they've all been going on summer holiday and they've seen the prices that hotels and air are putting out to their customers. But occupancy really started to recover from last summer. So summer 2022, we started to see it creep in, but really from say April 2023, that's when occupancies really started to grow. And one of the key reasons for occupancies coming back so dramatically in 23 is because it's the key gateway cities. So the city markets like Paris, like London, like Madrid have started to see not only short haul travel. So they had domestic travel already, right? So all of the French were coming to Paris from Bordeaux, from Lyon. They were taking the opportunity to come to the major city, but so too were the Germans and the Spanish, etc. So that all happened in 2022. But what changed in 2023 was the Americans started to come, the long haul travelers started to come. So that's really what's changed the dynamic of the occupancy levels. So occupancy at the end of July, according to STR's data, is at 68% for Europe, and that is just 4 points behind 2019 levels.
In this quite favorable context, what are the key results for the operators in terms of RevPAR, in terms of average daily rates, always throughout Europe?
Yeah, so occupancy, like I said, just about 4% behind. ADR, however, is where the big story. So the average daily rate is really where the owners and operators have managed to survive these difficult times, right? They've had to push rates because of the inflationary environment that they are still in many countries. The labor shortages and the additional costs that entailed, and just the supply chain, how much it actually costs to deliver great service, to deliver a clean room, to deliver great food. It costs more, and we all feel that when we travel, when we eat out in restaurants, etc. So rates have grown across Europe by 30%. So it's 30% more expensive on average to stay in a hotel in Europe. In Paris, yeah,
Comparing with
2019.
2019. Okay.
Yes, so we're comparing to 2019. In Paris, that is quite different. It has grown by almost 60%. Now, I have to put a caveat in. The reason that Paris is much higher than the 30% average is because the data that STR has is very much in the luxury and upper upscale segments, which are the premium hotels. So the 4 stars, the big 5 stars, the palaces that you have in Paris, and of course on the Côte d'Azur, etc. So all of those key hotels have really been pushing their rate premiums, and that has delivered that 58% growth. That said, so too has Rome. So it's the Americans have come with a dollar that is so strong to the pound and to the euro that they are in a position to upgrade. And I think, we're starting to see Europeans in a position where they have to maybe downgrade a little bit because, we may have bought the upper upscale hotel, the 4-star hotel or the 4-star superior hotel in the past, but now we're probably having to downgrade a little bit because of the rates that are available to us.
So there's a game of conversion from
Yes,
one money to another. Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, that exchange rate is making a big difference. And actually, the Americans felt that this year themselves. So the US, like, yeah, they felt it because the Europeans did not come to America as much as they would have liked to. Now there's been fantastic lift in air, so you are able to travel to the US. It's not as expensive as it was last year. So lots of Europeans did, and I experienced the airports in August, and it was crazy in the US. I went through JFK in August, the first or second week of August, and it was chaos with Europeans, lots of Europeans. So it was amazing to see. But what they were lacking in the US was their domestic travelers. So all of the Americans that were staying in the US and going to Cape Cod and going to the different resorts went to Europe this year. So what will happen next year? We'll see.
Okay, that's a perfect transition to my next question. We will not see for this summer 2024 because it will have an oncoming sport, a big oncoming sport event in Paris. But what are the anticipations of the operators, the main operators, for the next few months? We talk about the growing interest rates. What are their position? What are their main concerns?
So I think, we talk to a lot of the operators, and actually we do a survey. CoStar does a survey on a quarterly basis with some of our key clients to understand what their biggest concerns are, or what they're seeing in the market that usually correlates with our data. And previously the concern was there's not enough airlift. The cost of doing business is too high. There's concerns around COVID, all of that. But now it has transitioned to concerns around recession. And there's a lot of talk about recession. It's a mild recession in many countries. Some countries have more of a recession than others. So somewhere like Germany has more of the recession. The mild recession is having more of an impact on Germany than maybe it is in France. Is having on France or in the UK. Another term I heard is a rolling recession. So it's rolling from country to country, to industry, and that's been difficult. But I suppose what has been the fundamental kind of backbone of recovery for hotels is that people still want to travel. They still prioritize their leisure travel over anything else. They actually have moved away from goods. During COVID, people spent money on new sofas, new desks, new gadgets, an air fryer. Yeah, whatever they could think of to buy, they bought it because they needed to spend money. But now they're prioritizing services, and particularly hotels. So it's definitely positive. So the operators are feeling very positive about the future, because there's also what they have to look forward to is, although the domestic traveler, like I said, may reduce a little bit. We've all spent our money on our local weekends away, etc. But what they're hopeful for is there's still a lot of Asia Pacific business to come through, particularly China. And we've talked about this before, Jean-Baptiste, where we talked about China, like what is happening in China. And I can tell you that China, in occupancy terms, has pretty much fully recovered to 2019 levels. Now, considering it only reopened January, so only 8 months ago, it reopened as a country. So China, the domestic travel is crazy, a bit like it has been in Europe, right? So everyone is traveling to intercity, etc. And they're starting to come out. So they're slowly going to different Asia Pacific countries, and they're going to the nominated travel tour destinations that they can go to. But there's still so much to come. I mean, we were thinking maybe Q4 2023 we would start to see more traction of international. So cities like Paris and London will start to see more traction because visas will be issued. Passports will be renewed, because a lot of Chinese don't even have a passport at the moment because nothing happened during the zero tolerance period. So come Q4 and then next year, you still have China to look forward to. You still have long haul to look forward to. You still have business travel, to come back, because it's and a lovely way my colleague placed this was, the tide is coming in. You know, like the tide comes in from the sea. The business travelers are coming in. They're coming into the city slowly and gently, but they are coming back. And groups are due to come back in 2024 too. So there's a lot, even though there's a recession and there's noise around inflation and the cost of living, etc., there's still a lot to look forward to that has not come back yet.
Okay. Aoife Roche, thank you very much for your testimony.
Pleasure.
We'll be happy to have you again anytime for your insights on hospitality on BiTV.